Okay, thank you, Chairman O'Neill and Chairman Kinsey, for the opportunity to make a few comments and talk about the bill that I've introduced. I'd like to also just echo much of what Representative Snyder just mentioned. At our district office, we ended up receiving numerous phone calls, emails, walk-ins. We were inundated by small business owners that were concerned, didn't understand, really felt like they must have done something wrong. And one, I'll just mention one retired couple, or at least an older couple that chose to be an Amish taxi driver to kind of end out a career, and they received this letter, and they needed to compile lots of information, and they've been driving on a turnpike, so they have a lot of these small turnpike slips and parking in parking garages with some of these Amish clients of theirs. And so they had to make copies of all of that because they couldn't mail in those small slips, so they had to make copies on bigger sheets. And it sounds like a small thing, but you're talking an older couple just trying to make a living, and in the end had really not done anything wrong. Another one that I'll mention is an individual that was in a serious car accident at about age 16 or 17 and ended up being handicapped and actually paralyzed from a big part of his body, and has been in a wheelchair, but ended up starting up a business, a retail business that's pretty much been the same for the last 35 years or more, but meets a need in the small town that he lives in. And he was just devastated by this, and took him a long time to get things squared away, and really had not done anything wrong. Here's an individual that could actually live off the system, but chooses to have a business. And somehow, we need to find a way to treat him a little differently than that. Our accountants and CPAs feel betrayed because they have all these clients, and the clients are believing that somehow they didn't do something right. That's why the letter from the Department of Revenue. So really, these individuals are deemed guilty, and somehow they need to prove themselves innocent. I thought our system was set up the other way around. I made a call to the department, and I just asked some questions, and the response I got was, "Rep, we need the money." So I asked the question, is this a fundraising mission? Really? So with that, I want to just talk about my bill just real briefly. Before I do that, it's interesting how this kind of thing that's going on just adds to the hatred for government that so many people, so many business owners have these days. Somehow, as government, we need to do better. And again, I think in many, many ways and so forth, the Department of Revenue is doing things well, but somehow this was not done right, nor done well. So what I've done is introduced House Bill 1867 with a number of co-sponsors, but just real quickly, it amends Section 355, the examination of Tax Reform Code of 1971 to require the Department of Revenue to conduct an in-person examination at the physical location of the taxpayer when requesting tax records, when requested tax records are 25 pages or more. So if there's a number of pages required, they need to go out to the business to do the actual audit. In addition, DOR, Department of Revenue, provide the taxpayer written notice of said examination at least 14 days in advance. And that's really the crux of the bill. Certainly not an answer to all the issues that will be talked about today. However, the department has a right to do some auditing, but again, if they believe that there's an audit deserved somewhere, the idea of coming out to that physical location, I believe, still has a lot of merit. So that's House Bill 1867. And with that, thank you, Mr. Chairman.